Wow, what an opening. My goodness. Really gives you some food for thought, doesn't it? That's stunning. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Néry and I'm a filmmaker who also does reactions to music videos here on YouTube. I've been enjoying doing this so much. I get to blend two of my very favorite things, which is films and music, and it's been such a wonderful experience. And specifically, I've just been delighted with the Nightwish videos, which I didn't think I would going into this. Like when I first started this a couple months ago, that, I knew of Nightwish, but I didn't quite know how amazing their music videos were. I don't know why, but I didn't know. So it is what it is. Thankfully, though, now I do know. And it's just been a delight. So far, I covered Noise and The Islander. If you haven't seen those yet, definitely check those out once you're done watching this one. Yeah, I'm just in awe of their incredible production value. So today I'm really excited to check out the new video for Perfume of the Timeless. You've already been telling me that I need to get into it. I'm sorry it took a minute for me to watch it and film one of my reactions, but here we are. Let's do it. Wow, what an opening. My goodness. Really gives you some food for thought, doesn't it? That's stunning. Yeah, our ancestors, there's so many. You don't usually think about it, like for how many people had to survive for you to exist here on this day, and really also how hard they had it and how, you know, I firmly believe that the world is only becoming better and better, despite all the hardships that we go through as a planet, as humanity as a whole. But I think we can definitely say that our standard of living is probably a lot better than it was, all those generations ago. So yeah, that's very, very beautiful. Beautiful effects as well. So we basically start with this raindrop coming down and the camera following that, or at least, if that was all done in CGI, the perspective is following that. And then we have this beautiful sort of like, I think like a museum of natural history or something, where we have the lizard, and that's where the whole ancestors thing begins. And then we cut to some of this footage of this person swimming and diving. And it's really reminding me a lot of this beautiful video of a guy that's basically diving across the world. Let me see if I can find it. I was talking about this video. It's called One Breath Around the World by a French freediver called Guillaume Néry. Turns out that's the footage they used. If you have not seen that video, it's absolutely spectacular. If you liked what this looks like in this video specifically, you must watch that. I will also link it in the description of my video here. Beautiful, and it's really cool that they've been able to use that. They may have licensed it, or they may have reached out to Guillaume and been able to use that. But it's, I think, thematically probably really beautiful. I feel like we're only still in the intro of the actual song, and this is going to build up to something really beautiful. So let's continue watching. Wow. Right. Trying to kind of go back in my head and kind of digest everything that we just saw. My gosh. So we have a little bit more of this footage of the One Breath Around the World video. So we're under the water, and I guess what we're seeing is a human evolution here. And we become humans. And then things get twisted and weird because we have this super strength eagle that's like carrying a dead deer. We have this one-legged owl. Beautiful owl. Wow. And also stunning shot, by the way, with, you know, really shallow depth of field with this stunning bokeh in the back. A lot of texture here in both the owl and the bark in the tree, which is beautiful. Unfortunately, this video, for some reason, even though it only just came out, it's only in 1080p and not in 4K. I'm sure there's a reason. Actually, the VFX supervisor that worked on Noise and The Islander said that, because especially The Islander was a little bit older video, said that it was already hard to do that in 720p at the time. Obviously, now we're a little bit later in time. It's like 10 plus years later than The Islander, and still to do, because Nightwish does such extensive visual effects. It's I wonder if that's still an issue, maybe, and that's why they haven't done this at 4K, just because the rendering and all of that is just absolutely incredibly taxing on computers and time and budgets. So it's maybe that's a reason why. So we see maybe just a tad less detail. Also, I will say I'm watching this on a 4K screen, so not everyone will have that issue if you're not watching on a 4K screen. And then we go to this beautiful natural history museum or something like it. And it's really reminding me a lot, actually, of Gojira's Amazonia video, who, incidentally, I'm rocking their t-shirt today. So I don't think you could see that before, but it's here, it's here. Really love that video, and so stylistically, it's giving me a little bit of that. Really beautiful, kind of warm tone, beautiful lighting, and we have all of these beautiful extinct birds. This looks a bit like a dodo, and maybe we saw some dinosaurs or some other skeletons. And also Floor is wearing something really kind of weird. So she has this giant fur, and then she has almost like a sock puppet. That looks like an imaginary animal to me. I'm not sure what that is. If that is an actual animal, please let me know what it is, because it looks very strange. Oh, and now I'm seeing it. Okay, so it's very funny because they gave her a prop arm, I think, to make it seem as if this dead creature is actually moving on its own, but it's not. She's controlling it. Her arm's in there, and she is moving it around. But it's like they gave her this fake arm, and it's in her pocket to make it seem as if she's not moving it. But that's a cool effect. I love the fire in the background here. So she's in front of like a green screen, and this is just a very funny, very fun moment. And then she turns toward us, and then we transition to the next thing. So it's a very effective little thing. And then interestingly, so we see these books, and then we have this jump into the forest. So let's just continue watching. So I'm not quite sure what the story is here, and I may be missing it because I can't quite hear or understand the lyrics, so please tell me if you know more. But it looks like they're sort of like ghostly creature. Oh, they might be our ancestors, right? Because that's what it opens on. So these are maybe our ancestors looking into, and then like reading all of these old books. I saw like The Origin of Species by Darwin, and we're still following, you know, the Freediver. And what I thought was really cool is how they transitioned that into their video here with actually using it in this sort of vase. Very beautiful. Also, the lighting here is quite beautiful, and I love these stairs. Must have been a beautiful location. Maybe someone knows where this was shot? Please let me know. I always love knowing. And it just it looks stunning. And then all of the beautiful birds, and the little one here in the foreground starts moving. There's a cockatoo and like another owl and a raven. And then the spider. So already we have a little bit of foreshadowing here on this page. And then the spider appears here on the page. That's really, really good looking CGI, I will say. Like, it looks very realistic, and some nice shadows. And it's very consistent also with the depth of field here, because the depth of field is really shallow. It's only sharp around here. So the foreground here is blurry and the background here is too. So basically where the spider is, or where the body of the spider is the only part where it's actually sharp. And so that's really, really cool looking. And I love the slow camera movement in front of it as well. So really, really nice. I love these effects of the, these ghostly figures turning into the skulls. Very, very cool CGI. Again, it's really beautifully done. And then this head sort of exploded as well, so that it just looks really great. And then the cutting back and forth between Nightwish's part of the video and the One Breath Around the World video, they managed to sort of make it fit, even though One Breath Around the World is so much its own thing and like it's a very complete story. Again, really, if you haven't seen it, you must see it. It's so beautiful. And for them to sort of weave it into their narrative with the story of ancestry and the Natural History Museum, and then we have these jellyfish that are sort of like they managed to really make those transitions really work. So I can admire that. That's really nice. Oh, look at the butterflies. That's stunning. And again, this location is so beautiful. I love all of the iron work here. And the ceiling, very, very, very beautiful. This must have been a lot of work. Also, I'll point out that the color grading here is also very nice. It's very warm toned with very dark shadows and just very consistent, and that warm tone, the yellowish brownish look really fits with the look of the museum. Wow. Okay, we go in overdrive. That was really cool. They really added something to that video of the One Breath Around the World where I'm fairly sure we see the freediver with like a whale or something. And now instead we see him with a whale skeleton. That's really cool. I love that they added that. It gives it that sort of more morbid sort of tone. And then we see Charles Darwin. We actually see the guy here. Very cool. I don't think I'd ever seen moving footage of him before. I love the timing of the eyeballs of the lizard, and then we transition to the cheetah and the birds, and like the edit, the pace of the edit there is really, really nice and times really well with the music. And then we go to the burning of the Hindenburg. And the Hindenburg just came up in the video that I did reacting to Rammstein's Deutschland. And I mistakenly said Brandenburg instead of Hindenburg. And I do know it's called the Hindenburg, and I don't know why I messed that up, but here we are. And here I get to set the record straight. I do know what this thing is called. So this is the famous German Zeppelin that catches on fire and goes down in a brutal, brutal way. So. That's what an interesting sequence. There was so much happening. So we see a lot of just, natural history, but also some human history, and really driving home that history of the world, history of humanity sort of theme here. And just very interestingly edited, and some like fantastical things in it as well. And just some things that just gave it like that little bit of a creepy vibe to it too. Very beautiful. Love this moment where this guy is sort of disappearing or falling apart, turning to dust.
We're the perfume of the timeless, last sighs on a deathbed. We are their air dust on their palm. We are because of a million loves. We're the perfume of the timeless, last sighs of a million loves.
Oh, so nice and so different than I was expecting too. A couple of things here really stood out to me. So we really have, remember that I said that with the skeleton in One Breath of the Around the World, and that he was actually swimming with the whales, and it's really the most spectacular part of the video. And I'm so glad they actually used parts of that as well. So we see some of that here too. And then we have the sleeping whale, right? Stunning. And then there's this beautiful transition to this drop of water, which I feel like is really fitting. And we have the tiniest, tiny little fish here in this segment. Beautiful CGI again, really nicely done. Just, again, very shallow depth of field here. I don't know what's real here and what isn't. I'm guessing that this whole thing is CGI, including the leaf. And they just did this to sort of change the scope from the really big stuff that we see in the other video with the whales, and sort of like transition into something like to the tiniest of tiny things with this little fish that's in this little raindrop. Very pretty. This is also just beautiful. And I'm guessing they, like the way that we see the band here, I think all of them were only shot in front of a green screen, and the director with his team kind of like worked all of the other video around it and around them. And we have him here in a suit, and he turns into a tree, very much like that dust to dust vibe. Again, of the theme of the ancestors here, and this it's like in a rainforest. It feels old, ancient, and it's beautiful. Very cool effect too, although this looks a lot more kind of like animation, maybe. A little bit different in terms of style than the rest of the video, but it's beautiful. And then at the end of it, we see this diver actually dropping a camera down like a shipwreck, which I am fairly sure this is not a part of the One Breath Around the World. So I'm not sure if this was footage they created or if this was done in collaboration with another filmmaker, like the one Breath Around the World. But it's kind of a cool ending because it fits with the theme, right? We have this beautiful shipwreck that we see underwater with the sun kind of shining at us still. And it's just about decay and time and, you know, one generation coming after another and things just sort of fading away. Beautiful song too, just as usual, beautiful. So yeah, another wonderful Nightwish video, I think. So definitely keep me posted when new ones come out. Maybe they have a new album coming up. I'm actually not sure. So let me know. Let me know. Anyway, also, if there's anything I missed, I don't know if they did a BTS video on this. I don't think so. They may have though. So if there is, let me know because I always love watching those. And oh, and something that I would like to know, what have you been watching lately in terms of films and TV that you've been really enjoying? Let me know too. I'm always looking for new stuff to watch. And I love talking about this stuff, so let me know in the comments. And yeah, we love chatting there about movies, TV, all these beautiful music videos. Definitely come hang out. And in the meantime, if you've been enjoying my videos or if you want to see more, I have this one, but also I have a Patreon nowadays, which I've been told that I need to tell you about in these videos. So here I am. I'm putting videos on there that have been blocked by the YouTube copyright algorithm, and somehow I'm not being able to dispute them, even though a million other people have done reaction videos to them, which is so nice. But I put those on Patreon now, so you can still watch them. I hope you will join me on the next one, and thank you for watching. Peace.